Yeah, Kirat here from Ruby Street Digital. I have James here from Gutshot Games, joining me today. And yeah, James, if you want to go ahead and run us through, your business, your project, what you do, and we can go from there.
Gutshot Games is a really small independent a publisher slash studio in Redmond, Washington. With We focus on games, so we've had apps before, so a couple actually um, mobile games, board games, and our latest project is actually a stage top, which is a 3D printed gaming table. So essentially, a platform that you make to play your favorite board and tabletop games on using your 3D printer. You print it's modular, so you print all the pieces, you put it together, you customize it how you want, and that is stage top. And so that's the current campaign that we have running on Kickstarter. It's it's between number 6 and number 7 the first week in overall popularity. And so yeah, that's what we've been running.
Cool, cool. Sounds good. Yeah, thanks for sharing a little bit about Stage Top and your business as well. So, could you tell us a little bit about what it was like before we started working together?
So this is our second Kickstarter campaign. Our first Kickstarter campaign, we was a project called Headhunters. It was about 6 or 7 years ago, and the focus of that project, it was a board game, and our marketing plan for that game was entirely different. What we did was we actually showed up to a ton of conventions all over the United States. So PAX, Gen Con, these are all big board game conventions. And we really focused on doing that. We didn't spend a whole lot in terms of advertising to drive awareness. From essentially traveling all over the United States at around 4 or 5 conventions, we ended up with what we thought was a really strong mailing list of about 1,300 people. Launched our Kickstarter campaign, had a goal, I think, of around 36,000, somewhere around there, I think it was. And our campaign delivered around $14,000, so really kind of low return. And there were other challenges. It's not kind of one to one, but really we learned some really hard, expensive lessons for this campaign, which was a passion project that started during the pandemic because what we found was people were their regular space that they were using to game on, they were giving up that space to work from home. So we wanted to see how we could create another space for people to play on that was portable, that they could save their games, get them out of the way, of the regular dining room table. It took us about 2 years to create the product. And then, as we were going through that, we really wanted to focus more on social media, like on ads, Facebook ads, to drive people to sign up for the product, to really drive word of mouth. So about 2 months before the campaign started, um, uh, we wanted to start building our email list, pointing people to get them to sign up. The problem is not no one, myself or my partner, is not an expert in social media ads, and so it was a little bit overwhelming. We really just started by boosting a couple posts that we had, and the return there wasn't very good. And so we reached out. To get some help, and that's how we started the journey. And um, we spent the last 2.5 months really focusing on getting our cost per lead down as we were gearing up towards the launch of our Kickstarter. We had a goal of essentially 3,000 total leads. We ended up with around 2,500 for the mailing list, and then over 1,000 on Kickstarter itself on being notified when our campaign launched. So in total, our leads we got to around 3,500. Um, and the quality of the leads that we were able to get, especially for our email list, were a lot better. Our open rate on our newsletter, where people went to sign up, was actually 42%, which is a really strong open rate. Before, when we had our like 1,300 mailing list, our open rate was about 21%. So it really shows you like the difference in the quality of the lead. And the success of a strong open rate, a strong audience, we actually funded our campaign in the first hour. And then right now we are sitting at 777% funded with over 1,000 backers. So really, by changing the marketing plan, focusing on getting leads, focusing on making sure we had a strong audience, it was really pivotal in helping it make sure that we really smashed through our goals.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Thanks for sharing it in detail, about like what sort of results we were able to achieve on Kickstarter with ads. Cool. And in terms of the service that, I offered you and the one that we worked together on, like who would you kind of recommend this for and who would you, not recommend this for?
Um, here's what was great, and here's really where we needed help, just in basic things like, hey, uh, size of media assets. So if someone is first of all, I would highly recommend this using Facebook's ads and the service like you provide to drive awareness leads for a Kickstarter campaign. I think it works extremely well. There's also a very big reason why I think the biggest marketing agencies for Kickstarters, really their primary focus is on Facebook ads. And in fact, Jalop is one of the services out there. When you sign up with them, you have to you sign exclusivity with them just to for Facebook ads. So if you're looking for a cost-effective way to drive leads for a Kickstarter campaign, I would highly recommend somebody using a service like yours. It is where I was helped was, again, I didn't know what size assets to create. I didn't know how to essentially look to create ad sets, monitor those to make sure, like, hey, which are the high performing ones? Which ones do I need to turn off? And you didn't have to wait long. I mean, within 2 or 3 days, you really got a good idea of which ones were costing you more, where you were wasting money, and which ones were your best performers. And so I didn't know any of that. And still, there were several times we would check in over the course of this, and do kind of refreshes to reset and set with different goals. But if someone is not familiar with any of that and wants really cost effective awareness building, that's who I would recommend this to.
Cool. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, thanks for hopping on, James. It's pretty much all the questions I had, and yeah, thank you.
All right.